Hey, how you doing today? You're looking great. You know that? Can you smile for me? Just smile. Little bright. Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Call Me Chris, you can call me Chris, and today I have extremely exciting news, big announcement. House Onion is now available to watch on multiple streaming services, which I didn't even know. I don't know what's going on, and it's kind of frustrating with the movie, but it's on Amazon, it's on Apple, it's on DirecTV, it's on Fandango, it's on a couple other things. We'll put them on screen here, but in the US and in Canada to my Canadians. So go check it out, rent it or buy it. We're super pumped that you guys are able to watch it at home now, and I know to my across the ponders and everywhere else, it's out of my control when it's going to be available, but there's VPNs. You can use VPNs. I don't know how that works with buying stuff, but maybe that's a loophole or something. There's probably a loophole, but make sure it's legal. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, make sure to watch it and rate it. Let us know, let me know what you think of it, good, bad, whatever. I'm just excited for you guys to be able to watch it, because at the end of the day, it was quite literally made for you. So I'm very excited to announce that. And to my across the ponders, it will get to you sooner than later, but I'm not sure on the exact date. But stay tuned. But anyway, I just want to thank you guys for all the support. It's been a journey doing all that stuff. We're at the end, so it's crazy whirlwind. And I've been busy doing other projects for y'all, which I'm very excited about. So today I was like, oh, let's just chill out. You know, let's just read some Reddit. I saw you guys wanting me to read some Reddit stuff because it's just chill. I do it over on my second channel, Call Me Chris 2, a lot. But I figure it's just a chill Saturday. Let's just hang out, read some other people's drama, and judge them harshly. Let's get into it. All right, I've only read the titles of these, but I've got some seems like juicy ones, so let's read it. First up, I, male 26, asked my girlfriend's female 26 best friend, female 26, on vacation with me when my girlfriend canceled. What? Ew. I already don't like this kind of, but I'm not going to prejudge, even though I just did. Let's read. This is also on r/relationships, this one specifically. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years now. She has a best friend who is always around, and we have become friends over that time. Cool, innocent. My girlfriend and I have planned a vacation in August. It's a month-long trip. A month-long? I'm back to judging prematurely. Okay. And something we've been planning for years. We both get very good vacation time, so it wasn't a problem. Something came up with work, and now she cannot go. My girlfriend's best friend is between work right now, and I know she's always wanted to go on a similar trip. I asked her to go, and she said she'd love to. Did you ask your girlfriend if that was all right if you go on a month-long trip with another woman? Buddy? She needs cheering up, and she's been very down about her job loss and job hunt. I hadn't mentioned the plan to my girlfriend beforehand, and when she found out, she was pissed. What? Peter, what? That's crazy. She doesn't want me to go on the trip with her best friend. That's crazy, man. Wow. She thought I would take one of my best friends or my brothers. See, that makes sense. But most of them are working and wouldn't have been able to go even if I asked. She says she can't support the two of us taking her dream vacation without her, and it's weird that the two of us are planning to vacation alone together. She's barely speaking to me now. What? I know that it was hard for my girlfriend to miss this, but it wasn't my fault and I needed someone else to go with. I know I should have discussed it with her beforehand, but I was so upset about trying to find someone to go with. I didn't want to waste any time asking her friend. Buddy, how do I put this lightly? You're kind of an idiot, to put it really nicely. I mean, yeah, it's a trip. It's a long trip. You guys have been planning it for years. I get that it's a huge bummer, but this was like disrespectful and just like selfish. You weren't thinking at all remotely about your partner. You weren't thinking about how they'd feel about the situation. They are probably really bummed that they can't go. She also was totally cool with you going, but like with a dude best friend or a brother or something, which is like stellar, which makes sense. And you know, it depends on the dynamic of relationships, but I think it's fair to say in probably most situations, going with your partner's girl best friend in, like a heterosexual relationship is weird. I'd be like, what? I don't even think I could speak if my partner said that to me. I'd be like, I'd maybe be like, I think you need to go for a brain scan. Like, what's going on up there? Like what's happening? Let's see what the comment said. This is very weird. That's what I said. I love when Reddit and I are on the same page. You fucked up big time, buddy. This is wholly something you should have discussed with her ahead of time. How would you feel if she were going on a month-long trip with another dude? I get that you're friends with her friend. However, there are certain standards and boundaries one must abide by. You just totally overlooked that. I agree with everything, but there's an update. First, there was an edit. I will be meeting with the best friend tonight to apologize for everything, but that it isn't appropriate for her to come and I'll be going alone. I'll tell you all know how it goes. Guy can't even write in proper English. It's also weird. I feel like I totally left the friend out, that I believe she was cool with going and also with not talking to her friend about it. So now it makes me think something's going on, because she did agree to it, right? Let's look back. Let's get the replay on this. Oh yeah, she said she would love to. So we don't have that context if she said she would love to, but let's ask your girlfriend first. Still weird. I would never go on a trip with my friend's partner. There's no scenario where that would happen. Let's read the update though. My lord. I met with my girlfriend's best friend. I told her the trip made my girlfriend uncomfortable and I could understand why. Because you asked strangers and your brain didn't work. I said that it would be better if I went alone and I apologized for inviting her and disappointing her. She got really upset and started going off about how she screwed up her friendship with my girlfriend. Oh wait, she got really upset and started going off about how she screwed up her friendship with my girlfriend and me, like she screws up everything. How she is terrible at her job and that's why she was fired. How she's going nowhere in life and how she'll end up alone. She told me that sometimes it's hard to speak to my girlfriend since she's always so positive and nice about everything, but she also has a very good life, good job, nice boyfriend, and she was jealous of that. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying there's something going on. She's got a little crush, she's got a little envy, and it's okay if you're struggling in life. It sucks sometimes to see other people, living what you want to be living. I understand that, but it doesn't mean you be a shitty person. At least she's self-reflecting and realizing that. And I don't think she's like a bad person like she's saying she is, or she has a potential to not be, because what she did was not cool, nor the guy. But let's keep reading. She admitted she was looking forward to this trip as a recharge for her, but agreed not to come. She said, I was a good boyfriend and hoped she could find someone like me soon. I disagree with this completely, but oh well. We talked for a while and I just got back. This makes me feel all kinds of just icky. It's just like, I can't go because my girlfriend said I can't go, and now she's really mad at both of us because we wanted to go on a romantic month-long trip together. She's such a bitch. It's like when you tell your mom, like, hey mom, I don't want to go to this friend's house, can you just say I can't go? And you're like, oh, my mom said I can't go. Was I the only one that did that? I was very antisocial as a kid. I'd be like, oh, my mom said I can't go. He's like, oh, my girlfriend said I can't do it. And now he's making this other girl upset. She's like, I'm a bad friend, I'm this, which, in some degree, probably a little bit, but she's obviously, got to work through her own shit. But the guy in this is just an overall, it's assholing in sign language. And he doesn't deserve to be with this woman. The woman deserves better. The comments say, dear God, no. You blamed your girlfriend's feelings instead of admitting it was simply inappropriate and you should never have asked. You have probably irreparably damaged your girlfriend's friendship with her best friend. Congratulations. P.S. It's also obvious from the girl's response how incredibly inappropriate this trip would have been. We're on the same page, me and Reddit. From her reaction, there is a 90% chance she would have made a move on you during the holiday. Absolutely. That's like so blatantly obvious. She's in her own state right now. That's, very vulnerable and stuff, but nefarious things seem to be happening in her brain, which isn't fair, again, to the girlfriend. The girlfriend should just ditch both of these people, get out. Next person said, you used your girlfriend as a scapegoat. That was unfair and cowardly. Why do you care so much about the friend's feelings? I'm not saying be horrible to her, but your girlfriend is the priority. The fact that going on the trip with anyone rather than going alone makes your girlfriend sound disposable. Amen. Wasn't it supposed to be something special for the two of you? I also agree with the other comments regarding the appropriateness of the friend accepting. Yeah, it's a very weird dynamic happening. It's just super inappropriate, and you need to grow the fuck up and use that little thing in your, well, I don't know if you have it up there, but that thing inside your skull, maybe it would probably help you out. All right, next up, am I the scallywag for grabbing a teenager's phone after he took a picture of me at the gym? Ooh, not cool. Of taking a picture of somebody at the gym, that's very weird. But I don't know if he was like taking a picture of something else and you just happened to be in the photo. Let's get context, people. Let's get context. Let's read. Hi, 32 female, was at a local gym last week, finishing up a workout. I headed into the women's locker room to grab my stuff and change. The gym recently started allowing teens in with parental permission. And that day, a group of boys around 16 were hanging out near the entrance, waiting for their moms who were in a Zumba class. As I walked past, one of them made a crude comment, and then I heard the shutter sound of a phone camera. Ooh, not today, son. I turned around and saw him laughing with his friends. He'd taken a photo of my backside. Just kidding, you shouldn't hit a kid. That's what I would think in my head. Anyway, I walked straight up, grabbed his phone, and told him to delete the photo. He refused, saying it was, quote, just a joke. I wasn't having it. I went to the front desk and reported the incident. Right now, there's more to this. Grabbing the phone is a little... I would have just said, like, can you please delete that? You know, I mean, they're kids. I was also joking about hitting a kid, by the way. I'm joking. I joke. Sorry, I just need to put that disclaimer out. People love to clip stuff and put it on TikTok and be like, Anyway, I probably would have just asked the kid politely to delete it and that that's not appropriate and that I don't really appreciate that. And then I would have done exactly what she did. Go report it if he refuses. Totally fair. But yeah, in that situation, I don't know what else you can do. I mean, I don't want to grab the phone and be like, no, delete that. He's just being like, no, I don't want to. I don't know what the law is there. Because to be honest, I don't even know how many people take photos of me when I didn't want my photo taken or videos taken of me in the bathroom before. And I have had the situation happen where I have to politely ask the person to delete that video or photo, especially if it's in like a vulnerable setting like that, and they've always abided. But I'm just like, hey, if you want a picture, I would love to take a picture with you. You know, it's always like there's a positive thing around it, but it's very exposing and weird and feels wrong. But if you're in public, I think it's technically allowed depending on where you are. So this is, I don't really know how this works, but anyway, let's read the rest of this. His mom was called, and instead of apologizing, she accused me of manhandling her son and violating his privacy. Bad mom award. This is an opportunity to actually teach your kid how to respect other human beings. And I get like, somebody like grabbing a phone out of your kid's hand and stuff like that, but I wouldn't give. I'd be like, delete the photo. Don't take photos of adult women's asses and then refuse to delete it. I don't know what the right thing is there, but I would be very disappointed as a mom. I know that for sure. The gym manager reviewed the security footage, which clearly showed him taking the photo, but didn't catch my reaction. Police were called. I was told I could press harassment charges. I was wondering if that was like, if you could do that, because it's like, I don't know, but the mom threatened to sue me first. Oh my God, this is crazy. In the end, the gym banned the boy and his friends for 6 months. That's good at least. But I left feeling shaken and honestly kind of unsupported. When I shared the story online, some people said I should have just let it go, while others said I did the right thing. My husband thinks I might have overreacted. I don't. I felt violated and stood up for myself, but now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole? Listen, like I said, in that setting, and it feels, yes, you have every right to feel violated and you have every right to be upset about that. Maybe grabbing the phone out of his hands maybe wasn't the right move, but did anybody get hurt in this process? No. Technically, legally, are you allowed to do that? I don't think so. Are you allowed to press charges for him harassing you and stuff? Yeah, probably. So I don't think you're the asshole, but I think that grabbing the phone was probably like the biggest issue in all of this with everyone. If you just asked, probably a lot of this wouldn't have been an issue. But I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is because I don't know exactly what I'd do in that situation of like a little kid taking a picture of my ass. But I want to see what the comments say. You should have every right to be angry. The mom should be ashamed of herself. They should have been banned permanently. I agree with that totally. I agree with the mom sticking up for her kid taking inappropriate pictures of other women. Like that kid's just gonna grow up to be an asshole to women. He's gonna grow up to be the same guy in the last story. That's who that kid's gonna grow up to be. The OP said, thank you. I stood up because I didn't want him thinking it was okay to treat women like that. Yeah. Thank you for parenting the little piece of shit since his mom clearly isn't up to the task. Fair. Another comment said, you receive pushback because misogyny is still so casually accepted. Know that that's the basis for these let it go comments and keep a mental note of who is making them. Allow them to reveal themselves as the casual misogynists they are and behave accordingly. You were absolutely in the right. That punk is a result of his parenting and the society that excuses his behavior. Shit, man. Amen to that. Yeah, sadly, it sounds like his own mother is okay with him treating women that way. Not the asshole. File those charges on that piece of shit kid and parent. Let her try to file on you. It'll get laughed right out of court. Honestly, that too, it's just like, if you want to go through all that, rigmarole, why not? He'll actually learn a lesson and it won't be from his mom. Yeah, I don't think you're the asshole at all. Teach the kid a lesson, put him in jail. It is kind of crazy that he only got banned for 6 months too. I don't understand why he wouldn't get banned for like in perpetuity. That doesn't really make sense. Let's move on. All right, next up is, am I the a-hole for putting up a camera during my neighbor's pool build and then overhearing him say he hates us? I don't know. I am baffled by a recent encounter with my neighbor, primarily what I overheard. I live in the US suburbs and it's summer. I replaced my AC in March, which was a significant investment for us. Our new 6 months neighbor in May, they informed us they would be putting in a pool. This was our first encounter with them. The pool company asked to use the path between our houses and gave us poorly written liability waiver and inconsistent references. I saw that as an opportunity to be a good neighbor and reworded it to be more clear and sent it back, which they appreciated. Okay. A few days later, the neighbor's wife asked to meet in person to discuss the timeline and concerns. My wife mentioned our new AC unit and asked that machinery avoid the condenser. We also requested their work vehicles not park in front of our house since we have regular services that need access. I have an old Google camera that I use for video feed of the AC unit in case anything happened. I put it in the window in a conspicuous location so everyone knew it was there. Okay. Over the summer, nothing happened and we had no contact. And last week, my wife asked about repairs to our grass and sprinklers, and the neighbor's wife said the project was delayed but should finish in a few weeks. All were polite messages. Okay. This brings us to our most recent encounter a day ago. Around 5 p.m., a work vehicle with a trailer arrives and parks directly in front of our driveway. The workers open the trailer and start doing their work. The truck is labeled for a specific service, and another crew had been on site recently to perform the same service. I was mildly curious as I didn't think it was the same company. So as my wife and I head out to take our evening walk with our dog, my wife asks how long they will be there, and they respond they are about to leave. The interaction was no more than 5 seconds. As we arrive home, they are leaving and neighbor heading inside his house. Okay, this is like weird. This is weirdly written. All right, whatever. We have a driveway camera. I was curious if I could listen to their conversation and hear why another company was here. Yes, it's me being nosy. What I hear is not that. It's my neighbors complaining about us to these workers. He talks bad about us, mentions the camera. I can tell they discuss the parking situation. He says he does not like us repeatedly. I can clearly hear him say, man, I do not like these new neighbors. Both of them. We debated this a bit. I don't know what he means by that. We came to a conclusion that he means us and his other neighbors. I'm taken aback. We barely spoke. My wife has had maybe 5 back and forth texts and 1 in-person conversation. We've never spoken to him personally. My daughter says she has talked to him once, a passing hello. I'm honestly not sure what I should do here. As I see it, we've done nothing to him. There's never been a personal interaction, so I'm here to ask a bunch of internet folks, am I the a-hole? What should I do here? My wife is considering confronting the neighbor wife. Confronting the neighbor wife for what? For them having an opinion? I know it doesn't feel nice, probably. What are you gonna say? Hey, why don't you like us? I feel like it's just your pride that's taken over. That's what you get for listening in to other people's conversation, private conversations. You're probably going to hear things you maybe not want to hear, but does it affect your life? Not really. And honestly, bringing it up to them won't change anything, probably make them like you less. I think. Yeah, I mean, I would hate to hear that from like a neighbor or whatever, but I'd be like, okay, guess we're not going to be friends. We're not going to be homies. And you said that you're already not close, so there's not much to do. I don't think there's anything to do. First comment says, this person is the asshole, according to Reddit. And first comment says, I'm honestly not sure what to do here. Nothing. There's nothing to do. Not everyone is going to like you. They're not coming up to your face and causing problems. They were talking to contractors and had no reason to believe you'd hear the conversation or be affected by it. Just move on. Yeah, and then it says my wife is considering confronting the neighbor wife. Okay, so they already don't like you, but your wife is going to tell them that you overheard them spying on the camera. Yeah, it's just like, don't do that. You want the shovel? Here, you dig that hole a little deeper. Like, what are you doing? Another comment said, we were spying on your conversation and we heard you say you don't like us. I wanted to know why and what we did that you're annoyed about. I don't know, maybe it's the cameras you installed so you could spy on us. Yeah, man, there's so many cameras everywhere now. It's like kind of weird and freaky. Yeah, you can like spy on neighbors and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's good for a lot of other reasons. Yeah, it's weird. You can't do anything. Get over it, I guess. Just be nice to people. People are just gonna have opinions about you. I can also speak to that. A lot of people don't like me. A lot of people don't like me. A lot of people don't have a reason not to like me. They look at my face and they're just like, I don't like her. And I have to be like, okay, I'll just be at home playing Skyrim with my dog sitting in my lap. That's what I'm doing. But, you know, you can't please everyone. And I have learned that. It's taken me a long time to learn that, but I've learned that. And it brings me peace. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. All right, next up, from Best of Redditor Updates, so you had that to look forward to. Would I be the a-hole if I stayed at my parents' place while my wife stayed at the hotel? Probably, but let's see. My wife and I are going to be attending her friend's wedding, which is in the same city that I'm from, as in my parents still live there. It's on a Saturday with some events on Sunday, and our plan is to fly out with our 1-year-old on Friday and spend 2 nights there. My wife and my parents, particularly my mom, don't get along too well. Okay, here's the context. I'm fortunate that we're far enough that they have to meet infrequently, and when they do meet, they do remain cordial, but distant. My mom could have been more tactful. My wife could have been more understanding too. It's just issues that cannot be bridged, and I won't try to. All right. However, I thought we could stay at my parents' house while we're there. However, my wife is adamantly opposed to the idea and says she needs us to stay at a hotel. Fair, especially since you understand that it is not a fun relationship for her. I brought up the fact that we meet them on important family occasions without issue, that this was a good opportunity to spend some quality time, but she said this was different. It was her friend's wedding. She wanted to be in the correct headspace and not be stressed. All right, like I'm all for family stuff. Like, stick it out sometimes, but so far, from what you're saying, I'm kind of on her side so far, but we'll see. I brought up that staying at my parents would mean more help with getting the clothes ready and our son. The clothes. All right, whatever. And our son. Okay. But she's just flat out saying no. She says we can meet them for lunch or something when we land and before leaving, but we can't stay there. Okay, at least she still wants to see them. That's good. I was going to say like, you're not going to see them at all, but yeah, whatever. I didn't push the issue further, but the more I think about it, the more unreasonable it seems to me. Us not staying is 100% going to open a whole new can of worms in an already fraught dynamic. I'm considering saying that I'll spend time at my parents with our son if she's okay with that, and link up with her at the hotel after breakfast on Saturday and Sunday if she really wants to just stay at the hotel. So would I be the asshole? Yeah, you're supposed to be a team with your wife. You're supposed to be a team. This would create an infinite more amount of stress to the wife, because she seems like a biznatch for not going to the house if you go to the house with the kid. But if you're willing to just like meet up a few times with them and not necessarily stay the night there, then you still get to see them. And again, I don't know what the issues are necessarily, but you're saying that they do not get along, and I'm assuming that she doesn't love them looking after her kids, so I feel like that'll just create even more stress. The verdict was that this person was the asshole. And some comments are, I feel like this would really damage your relationship with your wife. How do your parents feel about her staying over? Is it a double-edged sword here? True. If you stay at the hotel, you are choosing your wife over your parents and vice versa. Ultimately, you're going there for your wife, and she should be able to enjoy the wedding stress-free. I agree. OP says, my parents already know about the wedding and they'd love for us to stay with them. They're basically expecting it. Okay. And this is something I tried to explain to my wife, that having the extra help from my parents, especially with our son, would help reduce the stress, but she's refusing to listen. Another comment said, I think you should try and have a more open discussion with your wife about this. Is the reason they don't like each other valid, or is it some petty things? Oh, we're getting some context here. Okay, this will help. OP says it's petty in the sense that the arguments themselves were insane, but they both felt strongly about it and neither one gives the other any grace anymore. My mom's attempts to be helpful can be a bit much. Overbearing mother-in-law, okay? And my wife's responses can be razor sharp. Okay, so we have a girl that just stands her ground. That's all I'm seeing. Which is another reason I assumed we were good about this, because our meetups are in good spirits with our son enjoying having my parents dote on him. Another commenter said, nah, talk to her about this idea. She may think it's great to have a solo hotel stay, help with the kid, you get family time and she doesn't have to join in. If you frame it right, it seems like a win-win. And OP said, thanks, I'll consider that framing, although I'm trying to keep the path open for her to see that it just makes sense in terms of comfort and help to stay at my parents'. Yeah, like it could be, but I feel like it just separates the whole family and it's like, oh yeah, my wife hates you and she's just gonna stay at a hotel. You know, it's just like, I don't really see the win-win there. It's like more like maybe win-lose, but she also might be stressed with her baby staying with them and, you know, so I don't know. But we have an update. I had received a pretty negative response to my last post.
Peter, what? That's crazy.
I'm okay with that, since that was the point, I suppose, although I didn't think it would be a near unanimous negative response. I was coming from a place of indignation, I suppose, at the fact that she wasn't even entertaining us staying at my parents' as a valid suggestion. After the response, I realized that her staying at a hotel and me staying with my parents would be a bad look and make us look broken. Glad you had to go to the internet and get hundreds of strangers to point that out to you. Some people need that, which is why I'm here. Anyway, which is far worse than us coming across as rude to my parents by staying at a hotel, so I put that out of my mind. This morning, during breakfast, I brought up us staying at my parents' one final time. Okay. But no fallback option of sleeping separately. I just tried to come at it from a place of how it could be mutually beneficial and didn't try to push her into it. She said attending the wedding is a fun thing for her and she wants it to be just the three of us. I just brought up how we were obviously not going to bring my parents along to the wedding, but to her, even the prep and dressing and the coming back from the wedding and events also needed to be a thing for just the three of us. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I personally love my whole family. I don't have any like family where I'd feel like this, but I get just like wanting to go have fun at a friend's thing. And it's like, this is just a friend's trip. You know, we'll see them at this other thing. Or she already said that you can see them for lunch. You can see them after. I get what she's saying. And then he said, well, I don't fully agree with her. I think that it's just going to cause a relationship with my parents to become even more on edge. A lot of the comments had said this is her event, which I agree with, and we'll be doing things her way for it. Thanks. It's like you understood, and then you're like, but I'm still gonna try to get my way. I understand, but like, can we not do this? Because I really don't want to be on the bad side of my shitty mom or whatever. I don't know. And again, we still don't have that context, like what the issue is really, but it's sounding like she maybe gives too many opinions. Maybe what he said is overbearing, and that could be a lot for a new mom and stuff. So comments say, you're the asshole for bringing it up again after you already had her answer. Dude, listen to your wife and respect her answers. You're the asshole before and you still are. That's funny. OP says, I didn't push her into it. I just wanted to lay out the pros and cons of it. Shut up, dude. She already knows. That's all cons for her. Commenter 2 said, why are you so afraid of your parents? True, exactly. OP said, it's not about afraid. They are an important relationship to us, to you, it seemed. Just like her parents are also an important relationship to us. Are they assholes? Or at least is the mom? I'm assuming not, but obviously not as important as the relationship between me and my wife and our son. Well, at least that's good. At least you're saying that, I guess. Comment 3 says, when you got married and had a child, your wife became your core family, and then so did your child. If she's not comfortable staying at their house, you cannot force it. Go visit them on your own time. Do not ruin the event that she's looking forward to. Get some therapy to get over your mama's boys issues. Amen. Guy still has the umbilical cord attached to his fucking mom, my lord. Also because if you're always going to prioritize your parents over her, she's going to leave you. Reddit's always so brutal. They're like, get a divorce, your parents suck, cut everyone off, leave the country. It's always like the most extreme. OP said to that, I agree with my wife and my son are my first priority. That's good. There's zero doubt about that. I just made a suggestion and she isn't down for it, so we won't be doing it. I do agree that I'm assuming it's not that deep. I'm not going to fault him for like loving his parents because I feel like that's fine and wanting to maintain a relationship with them and not wanting bad blood. I'm just being devil's advocate here. I get that, but at the end of the day, yeah, your wife is your partner, and if she's asking something that isn't, you know, crazy, which I don't think this is crazy. It's like, I just want to enjoy the event and we have our baby and I don't want to entertain people that I don't enjoy being around, and it's not that much. And you can always visit them on your own time, or, you know, there's ways to work around it. So I don't think it's as deep as Reddit maybe thinks it is. Maybe it is. What do I know? Comment 4 though says, why do I feel like we're all on an information diet? Amen. Give me all the tea. Why are they not getting along? Why does your wife dislike your parents so much? What did they do that has her this adamant about not spending any time with them? Must have been pretty bad. Yeah, this is just like, oh, it's exactly what I thought. Mom has a habit of giving unsolicited advice. I knew it. I said that earlier. Replay that, Jay, please.
But it's sounding like she maybe gives too many opinions. Maybe what he said is overbearing mother-in-law, okay?
Especially when it comes to our son. See, it's the new mom thing. It's like, let me just be with my kid. Let me just, like, the advice is good, I think. And I only know this because I have many close people to me that have just had babies not too long ago. It's like, you can give advice, but don't insert yourself into somebody's life and judge them so deeply unless it's, like, actually warranted, like if they're neglecting their child or something. But it's just so annoying to even see as an outsider. I'm just like, just let her do her thing, you know? Like, come on. Anyway, a lot of it's good. Some can be subjective. And my wife, and I guess it's up to her, but she won't even do a surface level acknowledgement if it's not something she agrees with, even though it's just on the phone. And then my mom becomes overbearing, which is absolutely my mom's fault alone. And also, if we don't talk regularly, she can feel left out. Though after I explained to her that our son can be a handful sometimes, so we don't have much time, she becomes better. It's things like these which could be avoided, especially since we live in different cities. So it's not like there's physical proximity, but it still has led to bad blood. I feel like I'm still on an information diet. I love that commenter said that. Like, he's being so obscure, and those examples were not good enough. I feel like he's just being, you know, just a dude and just being like, I don't know, they just don't get along. It probably goes so much deeper than that. There's probably like a really backhanded comment, like several of them, and like to be just not wanting to be in the presence of somebody, I feel like it takes a certain amount of just unwarranted advice or comments. I don't know. I feel like I'm not getting enough advice. I'm hungry for context and you didn't give it to me, Peter, or whatever.
Peter.
Next and last up. Entitled sister-in-law stole our baby name. Now she regrets it. Interesting. Wait, since I've been surrounded by people that are having babies and stuff, I'm just so into this, like, all the tea and drama that goes on with it, especially names and all that. Let's read. Hey, y'all. Hi, y'all. Long-time lurker and all that. This is a throwaway account. To get to the chase, my wife and I spent 4 years trying to get pregnant before the wrong side of 35. Damn, okay. We are currently 33, respectively now, and are blessed with a wonderful infant son. Congratulations, that's wonderful. My wife has a younger half-sister that she has been LC with for some time. Why do we do this? I don't know what the fuck LC means. Oh, wait, maybe low contact? I'm gonna assume that since we already sense hostility in the title. The woman is entitled and toxic, and also her mother's golden child. Got it. We've refused to let her or my mother-in-law in the house since they both blatantly tried to make off with my wife's jewelry box a couple years ago. So they're criminals? The box contained a lot of valuable jewelry inherited from my wife's grandmother. Said jewelry is now in a safety deposit box as per my suggestion. That's good. What is happening? But okay, I'm invested. My wife and I had nearly given up trying to conceive when it suddenly happened, and we were ecstatic. After we found out we were having a boy, we started looking into names. I ended up suggesting the name of my Scottish grandfather, and my wife loved it. So that's the name we settled on. Ooh, I wonder what it is. I hope it's like, William or something. Well, like William Wallace. William Wallace. It's the only Scottish person I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sorry. So that's the name we settled on. But we made the mistake of posting about it on social media. Oh yeah, I'm never gonna do that. I don't want anyone's opinion. I've learned my lesson from that. Well, no surprise to the stereotype in this mess. My sister-in-law was pregnant too. Oh no. And was months further along than my wife and also having a boy. I mean, I already know what's going to happen because of the title, but I'm reading it and I'm devastated. She decided to claim my grandfather's name for her own son. That doesn't even make sense because they're not related, but I'm sure it's just like a common name. And not just the first name, but the middle name too. That's crazy. We called her pissed over what she was doing, and she smugly told us there's nothing we can do about it, which she was sort of right. There was nothing we could do about it legally, as it's still not a crime to steal planned baby names. No, it's not. And I know it sucks to hear, but just, I mean, I hope you named your, there's still a lot more to read, but I hope that you named your baby the same name that you wanted to, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because it sounds like you don't even see this person, so, but it still sucks. Anyway, we realized that drama was exactly what my sister-in-law wanted, and she thought that by taking the name for herself, we'd not be able to use it. I laughed and told her that while what she did was dirty and underhanded, we would keep our chosen name. Yes, I predicted. I'm so proud of these people. Yes. Don't give in to the drama. And she could just deal with it whether she decides to go through with copying us or not. Well, my sister-in-law's baby daddy called me and said I was an unreasonable dick for still wanting to use the name after my sister-in-law claimed it. Does this guy know how names work? You can name your kid whatever you want, and it could be the same name as somebody that you know. Whatever, dude. And since we couldn't own the name, then neither could they. Before he ended the call, he threatened me by saying I'd be sorry if we didn't change the name. Then he hung up before I could respond. That sounds like a threat. Months later, sister-in-law has a healthy baby boy. That's good. Baby's not to blame. And names him my grandfather's name. Damn, she really committed to the bit. We did not show up for the birth. Fair enough. Both because of the pandemic and because we simply didn't care to be there. Sister-in-law called us wanting congratulations, but we told her we simply didn't care, and that if she was still insisting we change our baby's name, then she'd be in for a big disappointment because we were not. Sister-in-law demanded I put my wife on the phone, but it was already on speaker and my wife spoke up and said she agrees with me entirely. I love these people so much. I want to be friends with them. We weren't changing the name. Sister-in-law hung up on us, but soon started sending emails with text walls of names, even suggesting similar ones. I responded back that the name was from my grandfather, and that's why we were not changing it. She shut up, and we didn't hear from her again until after our own son was born. Oh, this is a long one, and I'm fine with it. 2 months later, we were blessed with her son. He came out perfect, and we named him just as we'd intended. Well, no surprise, my sister-in-law called us a few days after the birth to scream in our ears that we copied her son's name. Who is this bitch? And what's her address? I pointed out she was the real copycat since she had no familial ties to the name and we did. And anyone looks at our family tree could see that. Then my wife spoke and said after the attempted theft of her grandmother's jewelry, she no longer considered sister-in-law her sister and would have nothing to do with her nephew either. That's sad, but I get it. For months, we were bombarded with messages and emails from my wife's side of the family. Half were on the side after finding out the whole story, the other half were not. And sister-in-law's baby daddy, true to his word, showed up at my door to, quote, make me sorry, unquote. What? I'm not sure what his plan was, but I pretty much towered over him. Hell yeah. I'm 6'1" and well built from regular exercise and 3 trips to the gym a week. He, on the other hand, was very skinny and about 5'6" with a baby face that was badly hidden by a slim beard. Damn. Just laying it out on this guy. I told him my house has cameras and to get off my property and never come back. He just yelled a few obscenities at me and drove off in his beat-up old car. Damn, it sounds like you're winning at life with your beautiful family, so I'm happy for you. Sister-in-law and mother-in-law called us from a different number to yell at me for making sister-in-law's baby daddy feel emasculated. Poor baby boy. I didn't even threaten the man, just told him to leave and not come back. And if he didn't want to feel emasculated, then he shouldn't have come knocking. Damn straight. Then they tried to bring up the issue of the baby name again and demanded we change our son's name as, quote, he's so young, so there's plenty of time to do it, unquote. We held our ground and told them that they were bonkers to still think they were in the right after they copied our choice of the name to try and get one over on us. I said sister-in-law didn't even name her son out of love, but out of spite, just to try to stick it to my wife for no good reason. Yeah, well, imagine growing up as that kid. Just being like, hey mom, why'd you name me this? And she's like, cause I got a grudge, bitch. That's terrible. I feel bad for the kid, to be honest. Then my wife called them both out on the way she was treated growing up, how entitled sister-in-law and mother-in-law have always been, and how she was glad to leave them far behind. And she wants nothing from them, and they won't have anything from us. That left sister-in-law sobbing, and mother-in-law called me a royal bastard before hanging up on the phone. Too bad, bye-bye. That was no contact again for a little while, till sister-in-law called us again sometime later to bitterly tell us we'd won. What? She and her baby daddy got in a huge fight and he left. He was apparently very sore that sister-in-law didn't let him even give their son a middle name from his family. And he said he was sick of the bullshit and wanted his son named after him and not some guy he wasn't even related to. Almost like there's consequences for your actions and karma is a bitch. Weird. Sister-in-law finally caved and they got the boy's birth certificate reissued with a completely new name, which cost sister-in-law around $500 or so she claims. Sister-in-law then demanded we at least compensate her for the name change, plus another $100 for the emotional damage, as now she's going to have to get used to calling her son by a different name. We laughed, thank God, and said this would have never happened if she hadn't stolen our baby name to begin with and we didn't owe her anything. What world does this woman live in? She lives in whatever the let's call her Stacy. She lives in Stacy's world. Nothing else is going. Like, I've read a lot of entitlement things. I think this is the most entitled human being I've ever read about on Reddit. This is actually insane. Emotional compensation for you being a fucking bitch? Holy crap. This is crazy. I wouldn't even talk to this person anymore. Anyway, oh, thank God. Since then, we've been no contact with sister-in-law and mother-in-law. But my father-in-law, who's a very nice man and divorced from mother-in-law for obvious reasons, would come by often and love his grandson. That's really sweet. From what he and other relatives told us, the situation between sister-in-law and her baby daddy was pretty tumultuous, but we don't care. Not our monkeys, not our circus. Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad we ended on this one. I had no notes. You handled this perfectly. She's like of another universe. That's crazy. This was very satisfying to read. Sister-in-law sounds awful. Yes. We're on the same page. OP says she's completely spoiled, toxic, and petty woman, her cousin and mother too, so we want nothing to do with them. This is great. I read more into the comments because I read a lot of the comments when I do this, and some people are saying it's fake. I don't know, because he was like, I'm 6'1", I go to the gym, and he was like really small. I was just kind of invested. I really hope it's not. I feel like it's too like specific, and I just believe what I see sometimes. But honestly, great story if it is. But I mean, I don't know. But either way, just name your kid whatever you want, you know? Name your kid whatever you want. And people are gonna be bitter and assholes sometimes, and you just gotta do what you want to do because it's your life, babe. It's your life. I'm just living in it, okay? You're the main character. Crazy. But anyway, yeah, House on Eden, out on most streaming services in Canada and the US, so go check it out. Rate it well, even if you hate it. But no, I'm super excited about that. Thank you guys so much for coming around and watching and hanging out. I have a great time with y'all. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments. If you like the video, please like the video. This is obviously bestest YouTube channel ever, and I will see your beautiful face in the next video. All right, bye.